So Kelly Oubre is going to Philly. A report just came out that apparently Kelly Oubre is finalizing a deal with Philly to go to the 76ers for 1 year. I believe that this trade is interesting. It's good, it's bad. I'm going to talk about it and let's get into it. First, let's talk about this trade. This trade is actually pretty good for both sides. I do believe that the Hornets have to focus on rebuilding now. LaMelo's health seems weak. Miles Bridges, you don't know if he's going to play or not, even if the charges get dropped. Getting him back in the NBA is going to be more than just putting him in the lineup. Is going to be a whole process of having to PR him into having a good light in most of media again. And also that you have like this new rookie called Brandon Miller, which played the same position as Kelly Oubre, so you couldn't really have Kelly Oubre anymore because he's a player that requires enough attention for that to happen. You know, in my opinion, Kelly Oubre going to Philly is phenomenal for his career. He's a player who's, quickly becoming a journeyman as he's been on one, two, three, four, on four different teams now, and he's only 27. He's about to be on his fifth if this deal goes through. But Kelly Oubre is just your standard scorer in the NBA. He's not really efficient from any range. He takes a lot of shots, he plays a lot of minutes, and he could just get offense going. He's not great at anything. He could definitely get some blocks, some steals, and he's a big body. But really, what he's mostly known for is just his ability to score. Like on 2-pointers, he averages 50% for his career, and like in the 2022 season, he averaged 57% from 2-pointers, right? And last season, on 10 attempts, he averaged 51%. So he's really good at getting to the rim, layupping, finishing around the basket, making his own shot. His weakness is his three-point shooting. As good as people praise him to be of a shooter, that mostly came from the fact that he played a season at Golden State, and Golden State is known to have some of the best shooters of all time always. But really, he's excelled in Charlotte as he's played there 2 seasons. He's averaged 17 points. And last season, he didn't play most of it due to an injury and also to the fact that the team was tanking. Now, when we really look at Kelly Oubre to the Sixers, we wonder what does this do for both sides. Kelly Oubre, in my opinion, finally gets a team where he could feel appreciated. He got a lot of minutes in Charlotte, but let's face it, with Brandon Miller coming in, that was going to get cut in half, and probably he was just going to be that bench dude for the Hornets, even if they wanted to put him there. With Philly, he could actually get a role, work his way up the ranks, and the Tobias Harris situation has always been shaky, so he could really be that guy who they rely on. Also, that Philly is a different market. Charlotte is not a popular market. A lot of eyes are not going to be on you if you're in Charlotte. The most eyes that were on Kelly Oubre is because he looks good, and I mean that. Like, his nicknames, here I have Basketball Reference open, are Tsunami Poppy and Wave Poppy, and that just shows that really his biggest thing was being pretty, was being good looking, and pretty to the women, and good looking in general, and that has really caused him, even dudes like we're talking about, like, hey, this dude is beautiful, right? Like, I've seen rankings out there of the most beautiful NBA players, which people have made either to joke or to actually say it, and they say he looked good. So really, most of Kelly Oubre's fame has been due to that. But last season, he had the best season of his career, averaging 20 points, a steal, an assist, 5 rebounds. And even though he didn't shoot the best percentage, it really was, just a season to remember for him. It's probably second in his whole career, but he really got a chance to actually play 32 minutes to be a starter and really to show his skills out there with no LaMelo for a lot of the season, with no Miles Bridges. It was just like, who's going to score? And Kelly Oubre just happened to be there getting 17 shots a game, the most that he's ever gotten in his career, which that is kind of insane. So now, what do we see for the future of the Sixers, right? Like, Kelly, he's going to be fine. He's a good NBA player. He's young. he doesn't get into a lot of antics. He's kind of quiet. And honestly, even if no team wants him, right, there will be some space for a slashing 6'7", 203-pound small forward, because that's how the league works. Wings, if you're a good wing who can put the ball in the basket, you're most likely going to have an NBA team, because even if they can't use you, it's better to have you than to have like a small guard who can't play defense, because at least your body's big enough to the point where you could go out there, maybe get a few good rebounds and, make a few good plays around the basket. So he's going to be good. Now, Philly, I believe that they actually could use this a lot. I talked about the Tobias Harris situation right now, but I really wanted to talk about the fact that this team is going down. And just having more scores could actually help you, because, last season, one of the biggest things for Philly was seeing these guys who just barely made it onto the roster get real rotational minutes in the playoffs, in big games, hit game winners like Shake Milton, right, and like other guys in that lineup, because of the fact of how many injuries or how many roster changes they had, right? And that was a big thing last season, right, where a lot of people from Philly, especially a guy, like Georges Niang, who is normally just reserved to be a three-point shooter, he had a really big game in the playoffs, if I'm not mistaken. Or it was in Christmas where he hit like 3 threes straight, and that was phenomenal. And guys got to shine because of the position that they were in. Now, I'm not going to say Philly's the best team, but they're definitely a good city with passionate fans who could get Kelly Oubre just more eyes on him. In Charlotte, it's kind of a deathbed over there, I'm sorry, but no one's really watching Charlotte games. Charlotte fans love Charlotte, but they don't like the production of the team. So getting you, especially as a player who's still, who's about to be 28, out there, you're about to reach the prime of your career, and being able to put yourself in that big market like Philly, which actually fills up the stadiums, and even if you just become like a team favorite, it will be very good for him to be in a bigger market and be able to shine more. I like Kelly. I like his game, at least. And as a person, I don't really know much about him, but I do believe that he has been a good player, and that the fact that he could shine. What I will say for next season with Kelly Oubre is, please get a three-point shot. It's going to help you. Philly needs a three-point shot. They need a consistent three-point shot, especially from a wing. But apart from that, really, and apart from everything, I do want to say that I like this deal. Kelly Oubre being in Philadelphia works for both of them. Philadelphia gets another wing who can slash to the basket, give them size, and who can actually provide good scoring, and he's only 28 years old, so he can play real minutes. And Kelly Oubre gets a bigger market where he can show his talents and make himself be wanted by other NBA teams. In Charlotte, you don't get a lot of press, especially when LaMelo's not playing. And the only guy who did get press for that team was Miles Bridges, and we know how he ended up right now. So Kelly Oubre being able to leave Charlotte after averaging 20 points per game for the first time in his career, and being able to step out of that market and be able to go to such a big market with such passionate fans like Philly, really helps him be able to expand his brand, expand his character, especially since he's a good NBA player. Him being on a one-year deal is basically just like a prove yourself to our team deal, and I believe that he will get more deals. And if really everything goes as good as it can, I do believe that Kelly Oubre is set for a great trajectory with this team. And it's not because of anything, it's not like Kelly Oubre is going to be the guy on a championship team, but, he, as a free agent, when your team didn't pick you up and you struggle to find a contract, getting a situation like Philly is pretty good, considering that you could have been on any other NBA team. I do want to say, why weren't you on a team sooner? Those are questions you have to ask. I don't want to be too, pessimistic, but it's like you're a 20-point per game scorer, and that you're a great slasher, and you're big, you're 6'7", and you're a small forward. So why weren't you on a team sooner? I believe that that's probably your agent's fault or your own fault due to personality, but I don't really know. And tell me what you think. Do you think Kelly Oubre is a good fit in Philly? Do you think that it's going to work? What do you think about the move for Philly and for Kelly Oubre? And what do you think about this move? I'll see you next video.